Hello there, Tyrant here, and I just finished watching episode 6 of Darling in a Franx. I think that's how to pronounce it. I'll figure out how to pronounce it. So, this episode kind of is a great, I would say, midway episode. You get this kind of climactic final battle and everything, and it's really amazingly done well. This show visually always looks amazing. I'm not gonna lie about that. Um, and they do point out some things, and like I mentioned in my last episode, I was starting to enjoy Hero's character, but in this episode, he halfway through the show, he kind of let me down again, but it got resolved like at the end, because during all the setup and everything, kind of Zero Two and Hero kind of have a conversation, and it's actually a really good conversation, and I felt that it's something needed. We're halfway through the show, and we're starting to see some reasoning between these characters. You know, they just do it for the reason. And I personally like want to get invested in the show. Like, what is it? So far? It's all it's been is just these kids fighting monsters and mechs. Yes, that's cool and everything, but I need more. I need a better story. So when he mentioned, like, why do you fight these creatures? Like, oh, great, perfect. I want this question. I want an answer, and his answer is pretty much he just does it to protect, quote unquote, Papa and the adults. I didn't mention this last time in last episode, but when they were talking to the other squad, you know, there was a mention of like any people from their team or squads ever make it to be adults, and it was disheartening to hear that. Like, so I'm wondering, like, what are these? These are like just orphan kids who are literally sent to their doom, trained from the birth to just die for them later. Like, oh shit, it's messed up. Like, interesting concept. So then, when he said his his reasoning for flying this, like, okay, like I was like, all right, and he kind of let me down. His character just got me down. And I'll explain why he kind of redeemed himself at the end. But now moving to how Zero Two answered her thing, she wants to kill, and she mentions this at the end too, but we don't know why. That's very, very like why does she want to kill all these things? And like, okay, give me more. Like, why do you want to kill them? Like, give us a reason. You just want to kill them? What? And her quote unquote reason is because she's a monster, right? And it's this thing. And what we get from that, I'm not sure. But she does mention it again at the end, that she just got to keep killing them. And my strong inclination is that she was kind of just some experiment and stuff like that. But we'll see how that turns out. I might be wrong, but that's just speculating. But that conversation alone kind of not only hyped my expectations, but also brought my character respect a little down. But let's continue on. Like, the rest of the fight was amazing. You know, the spectacle of the squads, like, working in coordination compared to these other guys who are kind of a makeshift one. They've mentioned this before. And I was hoping, like, they would kind of, like, see how they do their stuff. Like, they're going at it, you know, like, capture, destroy, done. Capture, destroy, done. Teamwork, teamwork. Like, okay, you can see why they've been doing it for so long. But then we get to these guys, and they're still pretty much greenhorns, and they're like, okay, what? They're like doing really bad, and I was hoping they would have some realization, like, okay, we got to work as a team. But the team leader, Ichigo, is kind of still just kind of not too focused. She's focused, but not 100%, and this is what's kind of ruining the team at the moment. So now that the second half of the season is gonna be out, that's gonna be interesting, because like the whole fight is everything is really great, and uh, like, but when, you know, it's the final climax with this weird box creature, and it turns out it's a transforming like big Goliath thing, and then, like, they almost defeat it, and like, oh, it's cool, and like, nope, you don't defeat it. It like smashes Zero Two's Australia, like knocks it to the wall, and then it transforms again into like this weird punching thing, and like, holy shit. And you see Hero and Zero Two kind of like, no, well, you see Hero all dying and stuff, and you see this black and white vision stuff, and you know the, and you see Zero Two in a like in a wild animal fury. Once the Australia kind of turns back into its lion form, I really enjoy that lion form. I wish they used it a little bit more. But this is what redeemed Hero for me, because he's just not a one character focus. I'm hoping they'll expand a little bit more once we understand what Zero Two's motives are and her dreams, her goals. But he's now willing to help her achieve her goals in a way that he didn't really truly realize it. And there's other one thing I want to note, because they do this whole momentous thing where he gets back. I'll talk about why that also gets me, that topic. And he holds her and everything, and it's like reasonably well done, and I'm like, okay, cool. They're able to defeat it, and like, yes, perfect. What's getting to me is we don't understand why Hero got that weird infection or disease or anything. We don't know why it receded. Is it something psychological? I thought it was something to do with yellow blood cells. Like, come on, we don't know, and that's really stressful in a way, because I can take it as just a show, and just like, okay, but I want to enjoy the show for it is, and not just like a good show builds its world and does it well, and that scene, like really, that's just cause he's like realized something, like, yeah, the disease pulls in, like, okay, no, it's like, it's just a cop-out at that point. If they can't explain it later, it's gonna be really annoying, and it's just a well, it's not kind of just, oh, it is kind of just a way to get the character back, but it's frustrating that they don't explain it why. Hopefully they do, because it will bug me. Just because it's just some cop out, and it's really like annoying. Like they were like frustrating and dying, and like that puts tension, and that's great, and I like that. But him just getting that back is, that's it. That's kind of my only real gripe, because I would have said Hero's character development was my gripe, but he redeemed himself at the end. The rest of the fight was great. That's about it. Now, I will say this is gonna be my last note. Would be the final scene where we see these three people up on the top of the weird moving fortresses, and they say some name. Maybe the original name of Zero Two, possibly. But they seem really cocky, and it sounds like these guys are going to be the antagonists moving forward. Yeah. So for the most part, it was a very enjoyable episode. Just some things frustrated me, but that's normal for any show if it's not held right. But fun show, fun episode. Yeah, those are my thoughts for this episode. I'm gonna leave it at that. So, thanks again for watching. Until next time.